Third chapter is human reproduction. So in human reproduction, the steps are gametogenesis, insemination, fertilization, implantation, gestation, and finally parturition. So in this, we have to study about two different human, male and female. So in human male reproductive system consists of testis, scrotum, seminiferous tubule, germ cells which carry sperm, Sertoli cells which nourishes the sperm. Some ducts in male reproductive system are retitestis, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vasa deferens. And some accessory glands are seminal vesicle, prostate gland, bulbourethral gland. We have to remember that seminal plasma is rich in calcium content and fructose and contains some enzymes. External genitalia is penis. Now, the female reproductive part contains reproductive organ is ovary. Accessory ducts are oviduct, uterus, cervix, vagina, whereas accessory glands are mammary glands, mammary lobules, alveoli. External genitalia are mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, hymen, clitoris. So we know that each and every metabolic process in our body is being controlled by one or the other hormones and enzymes. So the hormones involved in the regulation of spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Spermatogenesis in male and oogenesis in female. From hypothalamus, GnRH is released in both male and female. Then GnRH from anterior pituitary gland releases LH and FSH in males, which androgen from Leydig cells, and FSH releases from Sertoli cells, FSH spermatogenesis, and from estrogen released from ovarian follicles, and corpus luteum releases progesterone. So these were some hormones. Then on the basis of different type of cycle that take place in human or in organisms, we can classify it as menstrual cycle and oestrus cycle. So menstrual cycle consists of 4 phases. This is seen in females. Menstrual phase is of 1 to 5 days. Proliferative phase or follicular phase is 16 to 13 days. Ovulatory phase is 14th day, and luteal phase is of 15 to 28 days. In this, estrogen level is high, LH and FSH level higher, and then progesterone level is high. Fertilization. Fertilization consists of the process in fertilization are implantation, placenta formation, inner cell mass. Inner cell mass comprises of 3 cells: ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm, and these 3 combined and form embryogenesis. And this embryogenesis is studied under 3 trimester. Trimester is the time period, then fetal ejection reflex, and then parturition, after which the baby is born. Human reproductive system. This is the mind map. Male reproductive system, as we saw. As we saw the male reproductive system. External genitalia is venous. Accessory glands, accessory ducts. Then tested, it is made up of seminiferous tubule, which consists of spermatogonia, Sertoli cells, and Leydig cells. This female reproductive system consists of ovary, ovarian stroma, which is further divided into cortex and medulla. Then accessory ducts are oviduct, uterus, vagina, and oviduct is further divided into 3 broad categories: infundibulum, ampulla, and isthmus. External genitalia is mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, hymen, and clitoris. Mammary glands are mammary lobes, mammary duct, platypharous ducts. So these were the structures. Now comes different processes. Gametogenesis is the first in which spermatogenesis and oogenesis happens. Spermatogenesis is the formation of male sperm. In this, spermatogenia, then mitosis occur and differentiate to form primary spermatocytes, then secondary spermatocytes, then spermatids, then sperms. And this process, oogenesis, is the formation of ovum. Menstrual cycle, fertilization is the fusion between sperm from male and ova or ovum from female. Blastocyst implantation occurs is the feature. Then pregnancy and placenta formation. Parturition is the process of giving birth to young one after gestation period. Production of milk towards the end of pregnancy is known as lactation. So this is the basic features of male reproductive system. Epididymis stores sperm until they are matured. Cowper's gland produces clear lubricating fluids. That female reproductive system, ovaries, fallopian tubes. These are two thin tubes attached to the upper side of uterus. Uterus is a pear-shaped organ. In this, muscles, that is myometrium, stretches to allow oxytocin starts labor contraction. Lining of uterus, that is endometrium, thickness with blood-rich tissues due to progesterone. Endometrium supports embryo fetus during growth. Now comes vagina, the birth canal. Birth canal, menstrual blood leaves the body, organ of intercourse. Vagina is the organ of intercourse. This under this next heading is cervix. It is located at the inner end of vagina. Then labia. It is two layer of skin, that is labia minora is the inner labia and the outer one is known as labia majora. Clitoris is a small organ located at the inner labia near front of body at the junction of inner labia. Then what is the difference between spermatogenesis and oogenesis is that spermatogenesis produce male gametes whereas oogenesis produce female gametes. It occurs in seminiferous tubules, it occurs in ovaries. It involves meiosis, occurs throughout life even after puberty, but it involves meiosis but occurs after puberty until menopause. It may produce this quantity per day. You must normally produce one oocyte during each ovarian cycle. So this are some basic difference. Then comes the phases of menstrual cycle, follicular phase and luteal phase. Proliferative phase or the follicular phase is the same name. Secretory phase is also known as luteal phase. It stage of repair, and in this stage the repair of endometrium take place, whereas it prepares endometrium for implantation. It extends from the end of menstruation to ovulation. It extends after ovulation to menstruation. LH and FSH increase. LH is high. Estrogen level increase, progesterone level increase. Here estrogen is secreted by Graafian follicle, whereas progesterone is secreted by corpus luteum. Menstrual cycle, menstruation, then follicular phase consists menstruation, then repair of endometrium, then due to LH the level increases, then ovulation happens, then luteal phase. This is the shortest phase. Then luteal phase, or in this LH and progesterone level is high, so thickening of endometrium take place and then breakdown. This complete cycle reverse. This is the diagram. This is the diagram. This phase is menstruation phase. This phase is small phase, first we can get as ovulation phase, and then thickening of endometrium. You can see the endometrium is not that thick. Here the thickening of endometrium, luteal phase, and then broken down once again, and the cycle repeats. That's why it is called as cycle. Endometrial changes in the following fertilization. Before ovulation, we can see estrogen level is high, and after fertilization, after ovulation, progesterone level is high. This is the chart of menstrual cycle. The FSH and LH from the pituitary have different functions of production. In females, FSH controls egg and estrogen. In male, it regulates or controls spermatogenesis, whereas LH controls testosterone, and in females, it controls ovulation and corpus luteum. These are the stages of maturation of ova. These are different layers. Then secondary follicle. Secondary follicles with follicular epitheliums encompassing. These are the types of follicle: primary follicle, secondary follicle, and tertiary follicle. This is the diagram of tertiary follicle. This the first part is oocyte, second is pellucid zone, third is stratum granulosum, fourth is theca interna, fifth is theca externa, sixth antral follicle, seventh cumulus oophorus or granulosa cell in common, and eighth is basal lamina between the theca and stratum granulosum. Then conception of birth. The following shows some of the many stages of human development. First stage is zygote, the single cell that results from fertilization of an ovum by sperm. This is the diagram of, or the image of zygote. Then it converts to morula. It little mulberry is called. It is known as, it is a solid wall which may comprise of 16 to 64 cells. Then blastocyst, image is shown, then embryo, and then finally fetus. This is different structures related, and fertilization steps and cleavage shown. Fate of three germ layer is given here, and this is different stages of embryonic development. How embryonic development occurs: from cleavage 8-cell stage, then converted to morula 16-cell stage, then forms blastocyst, and so on. This is blastula formed. Then development of endoderm and mesoderm is shown. This is the embryonic development in man. Extra embryonic membrane is developed in this. Myometrium. This is Decida bacillus, chorionic villi, vitelline sac, chronic cavity, uterine cavity, etc. And these are the some terms, like first term we say is acrosome. Acrosome is the part of sperm cell that contains an enzyme. This enables sperm to penetrate an egg. Then afterbirth means placenta and fetal membrane expelled from the uterus after the birth of baby. Then amniotic sac, this means it is a fluid filled membrane or sac that surrounds the developing embryo while in the uterus. Then birth, the process of being born or the process by which baby moves from the uterus into the outside world is known as parturition. Blastocyst is also known as blastula, which is also early stage of an embryo. A liquid filled sphere whose wall is composed of single layer of cell. Its wall is composed of only single layer, and during this stage, implantation in the wall of uterus occurs. And then cervix, it is a lower part or neck of uterus. Clitoris is small sensitive organ in front of vagina. Coitus is synonym for sexual intercourse. Conception is fertilization of an egg cell by a sperm. Corpus luteum, after ovulation, this crater-like structure, it is a crater-like structure, produce progesterone and estrogen. This produces progesterone and estrogen. It is yellow in shape, color or look, so it is also called as yellow body. Corpus gland, two glands that secrete an oily liquid which cleans and lubricates the urethra of male. Then egg cell, a female sex cell. Ejaculation, the discharge of semen from penis. Embryo, the unborn baby child in the uterus between the second and eighth week of life. Then endometrium, the lining of uterus site for blastocyst, implants and development. Then epididymis, erection, fallopian tube, fimbriae, fertile, fertilization, fertilized egg, fetus, follicle, foreskin. Foreskin is a sheath of skin that surrounds the penis. Follicle stimulating hormones, fraternal twins, babies that develop from two eggs, each fertilized by a sperm, may or may not be the same sex, are known as fraternal twins. Gamete is a sex cells, germ cells, egg or sperm cells, hormones, hymen, labia, labor, Leydig cells, LH, menstrual cycle, menstruation, miscarriage, myometrium, organs, ovary, ovulation, ovum, oxytocin, placenta, progesterone, prostate gland, semen, seminal vesicle, seminiferous tubule, sperm, spermatozoa, umbilical cord, uterus, vagina, vasa differentia, womb, zygote, etc. Some important points are like an adult may produce about 10 to the power 12 to 10 to the power 13 sperms each day. Yolk nucleus, it is given. Period between fertilization and parturition is known as gestation period, which varies between 260 days, 266 days up to 280 days. This is the hormonal control or the phases of menstrual cycle. Male reproductive system, female reproductive system. So this was our chapter number